Welcome back to the Deep Dive. And a special welcome to all of you, the loyal C9 followers of our business page and Deep Dive stream. You know we don't do surface level. I'm Lex.
And I'm Vera. We're from the C9 Podcast Show, and today we've got a really critical deep dive. We've tailored this one specifically for you, the Australian business owner or the C-level executive.
Right. Our mission today isn't just to talk about AI in the abstract. It's to dig into the sources and show you exactly how it's changing the game in data quality.
And what that means for your bottom line right now.
So let's just jump right in and address the pain point. Are you or is your team grappling with customer data that just seems to be aging faster than you can possibly clean it?
Or maybe you're dealing with duplicate records that are just polluting your databases.
To the point where you just can't trust them for big strategic decisions.
If that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. But you are paying a staggering price for it. The stakes here are, frankly, enormous.
How big are we talking?
Well, poor data quality is estimated to cost Australian businesses about $2.8 million annually.
That's a huge number. And that's not just some abstract IT cost, is it?
No, not at all. That's hard revenue loss. It's your marketing budget chasing ghosts, and maybe most importantly, it's creating huge compliance risks under the Privacy Act.
Okay, so that number really frames the crisis. But here's the promise we want to unlock today. The sources show that AI is now enabling databases to heal themselves.
That's a great way to put it. It's technology that stops treating data quality as a cost center.
And turns it into a strategic, profit-driving asset. We're moving from managing chaos to gaining a real predictive advantage.
For decades, data management was all about reaction, wasn't it? A problem would surface, a bad mailing list, a compliance warning.
And then you'd react. You'd schedule a big manual cleanup.
Exactly. These large batch reviews, maybe quarterly, to fix all the problems you already knew you had.
And the sources are so clear on why that just doesn't work anymore, especially not in today's fast-paced Australian market. The problem is just the sheer speed of data decay.
It's a vicious cycle. By the time you run your next cleanup, the data you just fixed is already starting to break down again.
We saw some incredible figures on that. Something like 70% of core CRM information can become outdated in just a few months.
That's right. And that decay just compounds everything. Customer churn goes up, marketing ROI plummets because you're messaging people who aren't there anymore.
And the compliance risk just goes through the roof.
So how does AI solve a problem that moves that fast? Because, shifting from reactive cleaning to what the sources call predictive data quality, it sounds a bit like science fiction. Is a self-healing database really achievable?
It is, and it's happening right now. It works through machine learning that doesn't just look backwards at old errors.
Right. It analyzes historical patterns to actually forecast errors before they even happen. We're talking about autonomous systems that are self-optimizing in real time.
Okay, give us a real-world example of that. What does preventing look like versus just fixing?
There was a great case study of an Australian e-commerce retailer. They weren't just cleaning up old data. They used AI to flag and actually block supplier formatting errors during the upload process.
Ah, so at the source.
Exactly. Instead of fixing 1,000 bad inventory records after the fact, they just prevented the problem from ever entering the system. The time savings were immense.
And that gets us to this idea of the self-healing database. It's just continuously monitoring for duplicates, for anomalies.
Yes, and then it applies automated repairs. And crucially, it learns from those corrections, so it gets better over time, improving accuracy without constant human input. It's the definition of scalable efficiency.
We saw an amazing example of this. A Melbourne financial advisory firm, they were dealing with 150,000 client records after a big acquisition.
A total mess, I'm sure.
A complete mess. The manual path was estimated to cost over $250,000 and take months of staff time.
So instead, they brought in one of these self-healing solutions. And the result? It autonomously resolved. Get this, 47,000 duplicates.
In how long?
In just 72 hours.
Wow. And the business impact?
It was immediate. Their email bounce rates were crippling them at 35%. That dropped practically overnight to just 3%. That wasn't just an operational win.
No, that's a customer retention and a compliance victory right there.
That story really drives home how quickly this stuff pays for itself. But so many executives are still, stuck in that old way of thinking.
That old mode of batch processing.
And we have to call it what it is. Batch processing cleaning data in scheduled chunks is, to quote the source, a flip phone in the smartphone era. It's obsolete.
Because the data is always decaying, right?
Yeah.
What was the figure? About 2.1% per month?
That's it. Which means if you only clean your data quarterly, you're accepting that for a huge chunk of that time, 12% or more of your data is just wrong.
And if you're an executive basing critical decisions on data that's that unreliable for a quarter of the year, you're essentially flying blind.
You're flying blind. The power of real-time AI is that data is validated, enriched, and standardized the very moment it enters your system.
So from a web form, an API, an IoT feed, it gets vetted instantly.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Before it can ever become a problem.
And the sources showed the quantified ROI difference is just massive. I'm looking at the numbers from a mid-sized e-commerce retailer, 40,000 records. With batch processing, they were getting maybe 88% accuracy.
And an 18% bounce rate,
Mm-hmm.
which, a decade ago you might have lived with.
Right. But when they switched to real-time AI, their accuracy jumped to a consistent 97%.
And that bounce rate, the marketing killer, dropped to just 3%.
So when you add it all up, the reduced marketing waste, the internal costs they eliminated, the total net savings for that one business
Was $99,640 annually.
almost $100,000. That's a great number. But we saw examples that went way beyond that. There was a Melbourne healthcare provider. Their duplication rate dropped from 22% to, what was it?
A tiny 0.3%. The monthly savings were just over $41,000.
41,560 to be exact. So when you annualize that, the ROI was...
It was staggering. The sources showed a 1,399% ROI.
Okay, a 1,400% return. How does the AI even achieve that? What's happening under the hood to deliver that kind of ROI?
Well, it's about moving beyond simple cleanup rules into really sophisticated machine learning. It's actually a blend of a few techniques. First, you have supervised learning.
That's where you're teaching the AI what good and bad data look like, right?
Precisely. You give it labeled examples. But then you deploy unsupervised learning. And this is where it gets really clever.
This is the AI finding problems you didn't even know you had.
Exactly. It finds hidden anomalies, outliers, patterns a human would never even know to look for.
Yeah.
It learns the shape of the chaos.
And the final piece is natural language processing, the NLP. I'm guessing that handles all the messy free text fields.
Absolutely. Customer notes, feedback forms, messy address lines. NLP extracts standardized, valuable insights from all that noise that humans would either miss or spend hours trying to fix manually. That level of complexity applied instantly is what drives that kind of phenomenal ROI.
So if the returns are so incredible and the tech is proven, why isn't every Australian business doing this already? And that brings us to the biggest warning we found in the sources.
This is so important. While the promise of AI is huge, the danger of implementing it the wrong way is, well, it's just as large. Executives have to be incredibly wary of what we're calling the AI Cowboys.
AI Cowboys, I love that term. So who are they?
They're often freelancers, maybe small agencies, who are relying very heavily on tools like ChatGPT or GitHub Copilot for what the source is called, very aptly, vibes coding.
Vibes code. So it feels right, but it's not actually engineered properly.
That's it, exactly. They promise these fast, cheap results. We're talking 50, even 70% less than professional rates, but they deliver brittle, unmaintainable systems because they skip all the foundational engineering steps.
And the risk isn't just wasted money. The reports we saw were stark. Up to 80% of AI initiatives in Australia since 2022 have failed to deliver on their promises.
That's a terrifying statistic for any executive looking to invest their budget. And it's so high because they get lured by the promise of cheap, fast code.
So what are the red flags? What should a C-level exec be looking for?
First and foremost, is there a discovery phase? If a vendor jumps straight into coding without spending serious time understanding your business and your data, that's a huge red flag.
Second, unrealistically low prices. If a system like this should cost, say, $25,000 to $75,000 and someone quotes you $5,000.
You're not getting a deal. You're buying a bomb. They're cutting corners on security, on testing, on documentation, everything.
And the third red flag, vague explanations.
Yes. If you ask a technical question and the answer is something like, oh, the AI suggested it, or it just works, they don't have the deep expertise needed for a true enterprise system.
And finally, if they're avoiding any talk of maintenance or don't have a real testing strategy, you are buying something with a built-in expiry date.
And the disaster stories really underscore this risk. We saw that Melbourne retailer lured by a $12,000 custom AI CRM,
And it crashed during their busiest sales period.
crashed and corrupted their central data tables. The total cost to fix it, including all the lost sales and emergency
Was
fees,
over $500,000.
$520,000.
Yeah.
That so-called bargain cost them dearly.
The hidden costs are always what get you. And sometimes those costs aren't just financial, they're legal.
And that's the most devastating failure of all. There was a Brisbane medical clinic.
Yeah.
They paid just $8,000 for a patient database built by one of these cowboys.
And it leaked data.
Exposed sensitive patient data because of poor design. The result was a $180,000 Privacy Act fine, and they lost 40% of their patients. The trust was just gone.
The ultimate cost of vibes coding isn't just a failed project. It's crippling technical debt that forces a complete rewrite, costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars 12 to 18 months down the line.
So if chasing the cheap, fast fix is a recipe for disaster, what does the trustworthy alternative actually look like?
It looks like a real collaborative partnership built on rigorous planning and total transparency, the complete opposite of the AI cowboy model.
And the sources strongly advocate for a successful hybrid onshore-offshore model.
What does that mean in practice?
It means you have your essential Australian leadership, your senior architects, your project managers, who bring that deep local compliance knowledge, especially around the Privacy Act. That ensures accountability.
And that local expertise is then paired with cost-effective offshore execution for the development work.
Exactly. You get the premium quality you need for an enterprise system, but at a cost that's typically 50 to 60% less than a purely onshore team, without ever sacrificing that regulatory oversight.
And a crucial piece of this is knowledge transfer.
Oh, absolutely. Trustworthy providers like the teams at C9, they commit to that. They give you detailed documentation, training sessions. The goal is that you, the client, truly own your system. You're never locked in.
That transparency has to extend to pricing as well, right?
It's a key differentiator. You should see clear, value-based pricing. For example, a mid-level developer at, say, $115 an hour, or a senior architect leading the project at $175 an hour. You know you're paying the right price for verified expertise.
And finally, it all comes back to planning. A good partner will insist on a proper discovery phase.
Those 5 to 8 hours up front might seem like a small cost, but that investment prevents massive project overruns. It saves you an estimated 75 to 150 hours of expensive, messy rework later on.
Strategic rigor upfront is always the cheaper path in the long run. So the core takeaway from this deep dive seems crystal clear. Data quality is no longer just some IT cost center. For Australian businesses, it's now a real competitive advantage.
It's a crucial strategic asset, and it provides, as we've seen, a conservative ROI of up to 1,400% in the first year.
And considering the failure rate of poorly planned projects, we mentioned that 30% abandonment rate, we want to leave you with one final thought to mull over.
What internal changes should you make today to ensure your next critical data initiative begins with that strategic rigor, led by real experts and not with dangerous vibes coding?
Making sure that rigor starts with the right partner is critical. We've been discussing insights from the sources and C9's model. C9 is Australia's leading custom software, apps, integration, and database developer company. They specialize in turning this kind of data chaos into a competitive edge.
To find more information or to schedule that crucial discovery call to audit your own data strategy, you can visit their website. It's www.cmine.com.au.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We really hope this has given you the actionable insights you need to move forward.
And please, click that follow button and share this deep dive with others in your network who can benefit from this knowledge. We'll talk to you next time.